call upon Ramu Ramakrishnan sir to deliberate on the use of wood in furniture, kitchen design. Thank you so much.
Area allocated to me to talk. So it has always been, I had to scratch my head as to what am I going to talk about every time. Quite some time ago in a presentation on overall materials, I had talked about bamboo becoming a reality in our daily usage. When we say bamboo, mostly we think of the poles that we use in shuttering, or we think of bamboo in handicrafts kind of work. And so it's you can make it into mats and then use it as a bamboo mat. Various such areas. So how does that finally come into larger usability forms in furniture? And obviously when we talk about furniture, you also talk about fixed furniture like kitchens and wardrobes. New materials, how to make a inroad into whatever we have been doing sometime or the other. Otherwise, the kitchen industry is going backwards. I would say backwards simply because all over the world, modular kitchens are made with particle board. But in India, when it comes to making modular kitchens, we don't really prefer particle board. Because in an open forum earlier, I had said that kitchens in India are specified by carpenters, not architects, not anybody else, but it is carpenters who specified. And though we accept that 90% of the kitchens are carpenter made here, and a carpenter cannot successfully, or let's say properly, use a particle board, pre-laminated or otherwise. So he prefers materials with which he is familiar. So within inverted commas, what we call as kitchen industry, which is glorified workshops, they, instead of going forward from the carpenter, they're going backwards to the carpenter. What is most preferred by our customers and what is also preferred by most of the kitchen manufacturers are the so-called marine plywood. Marine because they think it is waterproof, but what they don't understand is there are very few manufacturers of marine plywood in this country. If the number of kitchens that are being made with marine plywood, if you take the total amount of marine plywood that is being used there, it is possibly about 200 times more than the total production of marine plywood in this country. Marine plywood here is, it should look green. Why? Because originally a marine plywood has to be made out of phenolic resins, and then it should be impregnated with copper chrome boric, and that gives it the green color. That is how the whole thing is. But what happens here is nobody goes through all that. You pick up a normal plywood and color it green, so that's marine plywood. If it is green, it is marine plywood. I mean, it has come to such an extent that there is a machinery manufacturer, in fact more than one, from Punjab, who advertise green color applying machine. You buy a normal plywood, you apply green color onto it, then that becomes marine plywood. So that, instead of using a pre-laminated particle board, say HMR grade or whatever it is, we have come back to what the carpenter is doing. So we use marine plywood, and then we think, and we also tell the customers think, everybody thinks, then it is waterproof. Now why? On a top cabinet, where is the waterproof? Do you throw water up there? No. Also, you finally put a laminate on top of it, and that you put with a PVSC adhesive, which is not waterproof. So what have you gained? You put one piece of laminate on top of it. Most times you forget to put the compensating laminate on the other side. So after some time anyway it will bend. But you take that and you put that on, and you think now you have a waterproof kitchen. That nothing is going to happen to that kitchen. Even when the lady is going to wash it for Ugadi, and I don't know whether they also wash it with a hose pipe all over the kitchen. And that is what the kitchen is built for now. In that case, you should go there. There is, from Varun Creations, there is one stainless steel kitchen. That is a much better material to use than your so-called marine plywood with stuck-on laminate. So our manufacturing techniques also become that. Don't forget that. Whereas the machines and other things that we buy are to be able to produce kitchens from pre-laminated particle boards, we end up with also one hot press, also by laminating plywood with laminating materials like high pressure laminates. So, and then cutting it. How do you cut it without chipping? So, Leitz has developed a special saw blade to cut post-laminated plywood. Look at the train of it. It is so beautiful. We forget particle board. There is somebody who develops a machine for making it green. There is somebody in every kitchen manufacturer shop, you have one hot press to be able to put laminate on top of it, and Leitz has made a special saw blade to be able to cut that. All of us together support the carpenter. And we say kitchen industries. This is a kitchen industries conference. This is little strange, but doesn't matter. This happens because of our basic problem with, we think every kitchen manufacturer can't get it into his head that particle board is not bad. The minute a customer is going to say, a client is going to say something about particle board, Busa board, Busa board. He is advised by the carpenter, and we don't educate him either. Last week, one of the particle board manufacturers and sellers here had come over to my office to say, we want to hold carpenters meeting in clusters to educate them about how to use our particle board. I said, you are wasting time and money to have carpenters meet for particle board. Because it is the carpenter who is dead against you. How are you going to educate him? Because he cannot use his traditional carpentry in it. So net result, I said it's better to educate the general public on the use of particle board. Anyway, so at some point in time, we looked at it that bamboo is there to stay in our lives. Possibly more of it is going to be coming into our lives. It has several advantages. Why it should, as compared to the wood as a basic material. Sustainable, fast-growing, short rotation, adaptability. There are 146 different species in this country which can be adapted to the most arid area to the most rain-fed areas. It's basically, if you look at the overall cost, for its properties. It is much cheaper, environment friendly because of carbon sequestration and all those things, and large scale plantations can be taken up. Now, more important to this is that every 3 years, mostly you can harvest it. That means it is a real short cycle crop. You don't have to plant a tree and wait for the next 15 or 20 years before you are going to be able to harvest it. So, there are today large plantations that are coming up utilizing the new technology in terms of growing bamboo. So bamboo is here to stay. But how do we use it? Are we going to be using it like this, as baskets, as stakes, as houses that you can see in the northeast and in scaffolding and various other areas? Then what is the point in growing large volumes of it? Traditionally, whatever is grown is used. Okay, the National Mission for Bamboo says that every year you have got 3 million tons of bamboo that is available in this country. Forget it. You can't find any. And by chance, if you find any, then the Forest Department won't allow you to take it out. It took us something like 12 years to work on the Ministry of Environment. God bless Dr. Adukoli's soul. He worked very hard on it and died about 5 years ago. Got the Minister of Environment to classify bamboo as grass, which is what it is. It is grass. So it was classified, agreed it is grass. So you should be able to cut it. You should be able to take it out of the forest. You should be able to transport it. This was the whole idea. But the Forest Department changed the nomenclature to minor forest produce. Not allowed. Minor forest produce can only be carried out by forest dwellers or tribals or others, and they have to be licensed by the Forest Department. So it's not so very easy to get natural bamboo anywhere. All right, that's one area. The question is, even if you are going to have abundance of bamboo available, how are you going to use it in the type of furniture that we people are used to? If today you are going to be making a board out of bamboo mat, which is being made everywhere today, that is, some architects will and designers will say more ethnic and things like that, yes. So if it had to be used in large volumes, it had to be something that you are used to, that you can look at and then not differentiate that to be differently as bamboo. Whereas the inherent qualities and properties need to be there. That means it must look like what you understand, like plywood itself. Probably with much better mechanical strength properties and things like that. So, as we went along, these are all many of the uses that you can have in the newer areas, but these are built, most of it is built with complete bamboo, treated and whatnot. And then in the lower level, you come across two of very important areas. It's not bamboo lumber, it's bamboo lumber and the crushed bamboo boards. Now, the so-called strand-woven bamboo from China originally and now also being made here in India is quite popular in some areas. Strand-woven bamboo, you have the densities are about 1.2 to 1.4, also bonded with phenolic resins, very high wear resistance, excellent for flooring, for chopboards, your countertops and a few other things like that. But then it's very power intensive, it's very selective in the kind of bamboo that you can use, because it was developed with mozo bamboo as the basis, and that the bamboo, mozo bamboo itself is softer than what you get here, like Bambusa Balco or Brandy C or any of these kinds of things. So we went into an entirely different area, by which we call it the crushed bamboo, because you take the bamboo, you crush it, and crush it in a manner where it becomes filaments and it doesn't become individual chips and fibers and things like that. So you apply adhesives to it and put it like plywood, cross across, and you can have some 750 kgs per cubic meter up to 1.1, 1.2, whatever you need as the densities. And by utilizing the right kind of a adhesive, you can have properties which are equivalent to the marine plywood. So why did I bring that into this here? Because it is possible to produce these boats in large scale. The smallest plant will utilize something like about 15 to 18 tons per day. And you can have modules of it for very much larger plants. You can produce bamboo from 6 millimeters up to 25 millimeters in these plants. Now, you can convert existing plywood plants also into bamboo plants to make crushed bamboo boards. All that you need is a few preparatory equipments. This was the basic idea, that it should be possible for us to be able to have a product which we understand because we understand plywood. We have to have also a product which is easily producible from any species of bamboo, that you can't say I want only this or only this or only this. Any species you can put together, mix it also, and still produce the bamboo board. Unfortunately, I had the samples with me which I forgot to bring. Now, what you get is something very similar to what you are used to, plywood. There are two negatives. Normal tools do not work on it. So you need special tools, like special circular saw blades, special routers and all that. But you can, even a carpenter can use it with the special circular saw blade in his portable sawing machine or his portable router. So it is still carpenter friendly, even though it will consume more of the tools. And then the advantage is you can use it like any board. You can put veneer on top of it. You can have a veneered board. You can put very thin laminates on top of it. CPL you can put on top. You can pre-laminate it. So you can use it also in kitchens. We built several houses with this all over the place, where we made it first in Arunachal Plywood Industries in Arunachal. That is where we did our pilot project. This is only a concept design. We really never built it with that. But these are all areas where it is possible for you to use bamboo boards. The hang-up that we have about the water-resistant plywood, you can satisfy it because you have water-resistant bamboo board. Even though you are not going to be directly using particle board onto it. Much more expensive than particle board. There is nothing better, cheaper than particle board. Remember that. That's what is the beauty of particle board in the usage of in kitchens and places like that, and mass production. There is nothing to beat it. You can use this kind of material everywhere, including tops, you name it. You can color it. Of course, this is very common to use it for chopboards and whatnot and things like that, and for the balls and all these kinds of things. So simply talking about a new kind of material, because new kinds of materials keep coming up, We need to keep a little open thinking as to how the designers can bring in to use it in various ways. Somewhere around 8-10 years ago, Snehal Vasani brought to me a material where from the Tetra Pak waste, it was compacted and it became a board. And he brought it over saying, can I use this in kitchens? It was so heavy. I said, no, you can't really use it in kitchens, but maybe you can use it in all other places. And with that, we forgot about it. And about 3-4 days ago, I was seeing a documentary sponsored by Coca-Cola on how they are supporting education in various schools, government schools and all that in Haryana. And in one of the schools, they had desks which had been made from this material. So there's almost everything that can be used as a material, provided you use it right. Like what you saw as stainless steel. And there is nothing that says that you cannot use a combination or a composite of this to that. That's also very much possible. The bamboo is just one of them, because it is over the next 5 to 8 to 10 years, bamboo is going to be one of the prime materials that is going to be used everywhere. Please. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot in that area that is going to be. I mean, there's an architect here in Bangalore, Neelam Manjunath, who has built a whole house with bamboo. In various ways, if you look at it, the whole house is bamboo made. So there's a lot of work that is going on in that area because of the various advantages of fast growing and whatnot and things like that. And it's the same thing when it comes to other materials, like I was talking about this waste Tetra Pak. So if there's going to be innovations in terms of materials, we will have to learn to adapt it to kinds of things that we are doing. How many of you have even thought in terms of using strand woven bamboo as kitchen tops? In India, kitchen tops means granite. Sometimes Korean, because there is DuPont, already there is a lecture going on there. So, but whole top with Korean, it's too expensive. Granite. Yeah. So it's simply the question of, I'm simply saying, please open your minds. There are a lot of possibilities with what are all things that can be done. For what we are doing, you put your chicken curry on top of it, then you have a bit of a problem on it. Right? Okay. So I am not for or against any material. I am simply saying, keep an open mind and start looking at various kinds of materials other than just particle board. Particle board for carcasses, for the cabinetry, the cheapest and the best possible material. Only use the right particle board, because today you get particle board from everywhere. I think from Gujarat there are more than 100 manufacturers of particle board from Bagas. Right? Where you are going now to Nanded, there is one factory which is producing particle board from Bagas in Nanded. Okay, so I just think there are so many of them that are available which possibly are not to the specifications that it should be, but to the standards that you need to put into a kitchen. See, most rigorous that you need to be able to put into a kitchen. So it's the same. Use combinations of materials if it is going to be, but use the right ones. That is about all. Is there any? Of course, it's very good. The wood polymer composites, it depends upon how much of polymer in it, right, and where exactly it is going to be used. Yeah. See, pure extruded foam board is only plastic. Depends upon how much of wood you have added into it. right? Now it is essentially it is plastic. The filler inside is, it can be wood, it can be chalk, it can be anything else. So whatever are the basic properties of that plastic is all that you will get. So if you are going to be using it for your kitchen tops, then you do have basic problems, because chemical resistance and the heat resistance and all this is something that you really have to see. Cabinetry, yes, but one of the major issues with cabinetry is you need lesser weight, because if mostly WPC is made at 1.1, 1.2 as density, almost to that level, and that the density is very heavy, so screw holding becomes a problem, right? And also your fatigue factor of the number of times that you move it in and out, that also becomes a problem. But if you are going to use it as a drawer front, well, it's perfectly all right. Yes. So maybe if you are going to be doing it like an American frame kitchen, then some of the frame areas that you use the WPC, it is fine. But WPC is essentially plastic with some filler inside, wood filler or your chalk powder filler or whatever else it is. Something more? We are anyway, Garindra, we are pressed for time, so yeah, please.
If you are using bamboo as a counter for kitchen, how do you seal it? Like, how do you seal it? Like for the water and all spilling over?
Oh, you'll need to go in with lacquer. You possibly, one of the things that you can do is use hard polyurethane lacquer on top of that. That you would need to. You have to seal it. But mostly when you take something like a strand woven bamboo, then it does not absorb a damn thing, right? You can just polish it, and one of the best ways to polish these things, these kinds of materials, is with wood itself. You know, the gun butts and things like that, they are polished by no lacquer. You use wood itself and you polish it. The same thing if you do with the counter. Right? And then there's no open pores anywhere available. So you're at best in a strand woven bamboo, the water absorption is somewhere in the region of about 2%. Even that will become zero. Yeah. Yeah, the basic problem with using the bamboo and bamboo boards and things like that is actually your tools. That is what it really is, the problem with it. And then the availability today, just don't have it. No, not really. All that you see, that's one of the nicest thing about India. Indian businessman is somebody who follows the Chinese philosophy. You know, Tao in China, he had compared, there is a book itself called Alan Watts had written Tao, the Watercourse Way, because the water finds its way through everything, even through concrete in buildings. So the Indian businessman isn't like that. You can have any kind of a restriction anywhere, he will find his way. So if bamboo board is the answer, he will make it. He will make it. So it is a restriction at this moment, but what is happening is there are several plantations that are coming up. And those like eucalyptus plantations. There are many plantations that are coming up with bamboo. The restriction at the moment is in terms of the tissue culture labs, not enough available. But in the next 5 years, you'll have a huge plantation base for bamboo, and therefore you can utilize it. Fantastic. Yes. That everything has its own usages, right?
Are there any strong movements for the plantations going on?
Yes.
And Indian government support?
irrespective of the Indian government support. Because the minute you go for a government support, then it does not. You see, the National Mission for Bamboo Application, NMBA, that was formed as a part of the National Mission on Bamboo, NMB. 235 crores is what they distributed as subsidies for bamboo-based industries to come up. They did not get even 1 rupee back. So they closed down the NMBA now. There is no National Mission for Bamboo Applications anymore. Because people took money, they never paid it back. And most of them never came up. See, this is also another problem with India. So that doesn't matter. So today in the northeastern region, you have the NECTA, the Northeastern Council for whatever it is, technological application and research. And so they do some bit of funding into that, but it's best to stay away from all these grants and government ones. But there are many governments which are now supporting. For example, we have 3 projects going now, one of them in Tripura, where the Tripura government is in the process of allocating 10,000 acres for growing bamboo. Telangana government, which is also now in the process of allocating acreage, and Madhya Pradesh government, which has already allocated the acreage. So it is possible to grow large volumes of bamboo and have a kind of an integrated township. Now, IKEA, for example, has a lot of work going on here in India, wanting to buy bamboo products from here. More or less, the first contract is inked now, and there's a company from here which owns its own plantation who will be producing the edge-glued boards for IKEA and producing the chop boards and bowls and things like that soon enough. So when you look at that, then there are possibly others who will also come in looking into that. So IKEA has a target of sourcing something like about $400 million worth of bamboo products over the next 3 years. One part of it is going on now in China, but you know that in China, bamboo is a monoculture. It's all mozo everywhere, right? And the price of bamboo in China is 2 times that of the most expensive bamboo here in India. The most expensive bamboo here is 4,500 to 5,000 rupees a ton today, and it is almost 10,000 rupees a ton in China. So there is a lot of basic advantages, provided there are going to be a lot of processing units that are going to be coming up, and simultaneously there are going to be plantations that are going to be coming up. But whatever it is, bamboo is here to stay, and that is the material for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.